the Catholic Morning Show.
Wonderful to have you with us, friends. Yesterday was the Feast of St. Lawrence, known for many things, but maybe one of the proto-deacons of the church. Famously, St. Lawrence, when he was being burned alive as a martyr, he said, "I'm done on this side, flip me over to the other side." When it comes to making sure that deacons are done and ready to go, right, that they've baked the appropriate amount, we're going to talk about diaconate formation. We have Deacon Jim Houston here, Director of Permanent Diaconate, talking about current and upcoming cohorts here in the Diocese of Des Moines. Deacon Jim, thanks for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
Good morning, Bo. Glad to be here this morning.
So also, of course, with us once more time, Deacon Mark Campbell. So we say deacon all the time, but Deacon Mark, you too were in a cohort and were formed as a deacon.
Indeed, I was, and cooked to a certain extent.
You got to the 375.
Which I always like to say, if based on that, invite your favorite deacon out for a steak. Is what I'm a strong proponent of.
Very liturgical.
Deacons work for food, so
that is actually true.
Very true.
Well, Deacon Jim, so if people don't know about the permanent diaconate, or they probably run into deacons, but maybe they're not sure what exactly that means. Can you explain what the permanent diaconate does in a diocese, in a parish?
That's a big discussion, Bo. The deacon, of course, is the icon of Christ. He's Christ, the servant in the parish. He's in the outside world. The deacons minister to the people. We bring charity and love and caring to those in the outside world, and we assist in the parishes too. You'll see the deacon assisting at Mass with the priest. Of course, as Christ the head, the deacon is there to help him, and then we help the people. Absolutely.
So, Deacon Mark, you guys are clergy, but sometimes people think that as a very narrow idea about what a clergy means. That just must mean priest, just the person who happens to have a collar. But when it comes to the clergy, the fact that the deacons are clergy, what does that have to mean with the liturgy or your prayer life or the things that deacons are, quote unquote, supposed to do no matter what their ministry is?
Well, one of the things I think is important, and I know Deacon Jim has said this, is that we're not to be confused with the priest. We have our own faculties, our own responsibilities, and so what we do, we're not many priests, but we, as Deacon said, assist the priest, right? So we assist with prayers. There's certain liturgical parts that are designated for the deacon, if there's one available. Certain things like proclaiming the gospel. During the following the consecration of the Eucharist, the deacon holds up the chalice when the body and blood are elevated during that portion of the liturgy of the Eucharist, and typically we're ministers of the cup, and all of these have their own sort of theological significance and importance, but at the same point in time, the work of the deacon is not just to be a liturgical accessory, so to speak, but we're supposed to take that participation in the Eucharist, just as we all are, whether priest, deacon, lay person, or professed religious, and take that experience and then out into the world as the hands and feet of Christ, to be Christ the servant. And so there's a lot of layers and elements. Like one of the things that we make a commitment to or a vow to do, in which deacons this last weekend, we made a recommitment of our vows to pray the Liturgy of the Hours. Morning prayer and evening prayer is a part of our responsibility to both assist the priests and assist the people of God. And along the way, we're hoping that that is all having an internal effect in addition to the external effect.
You might be thinking that, okay, great, we have deacons, and, of course they must have some sort of orientation or something like this, but what does it take to become a deacon? How do you remain one? How do you keep that formation going? And that's why we have with us Deacon Jim Houston, who is the director of the Permanent Diaconate. Deacon Jim, when it comes to directing a bunch of deacons, is it like, does that just mean you herd a bunch of cats, or is it this idea of formation that brings you up to becoming a deacon and then lifelong formation as a deacon as well?
Well, truly lifelong formation, Bo, but you kind of mentioned herding cats. It's really more like pushing a rope. We've got 50 active deacons that are all doing their own ministries in their own parishes, and most of them do a really, really good job. And it's hard to control that. So I don't control it. I just try to encourage them. But the process is lengthy. It's a 5-year process of education, formation, and above all, discernment. For the first 2 years, the aspirancy years, are truly discernment of, is this my call? Is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to do? Is this what my wife wants me to do? The wife is an integral piece all through formation. And then, the last 3 years are the candidates. We are candidates for ordination. Continued discernment, continued education, but we start doing more of the practical stuff. We start doing homiletics, and so we get to proclaim the word. We practice funerals, we practice weddings. All those pieces that the deacon can do.
Absolutely. So when it comes to current and upcoming cohorts, you're mentioning 50 people who are active, 50 deacons. What's the sort of lay of the land when it comes to the current cohorts and what it looks like for the future?
Well, right now, Bo, we've got a cohort or a class in session that has 18 men in it, 17 wives, one man is a widow, and then we have another class starting in 2 weeks that will have another 17 in them. So we have 34, 35 men in formation. That being said, by the time the current class is ordained in 2028, we'll have 20 guys retire.
And Deacon, this is the first time for the Des Moines Diocese, at least to my knowledge. The Des Moines Diocese has a long history of the permanent diaconate, but this is the first time there's going to be concurrent classes or concurrent cohorts going through formation. Talk about the decision to sort of graduate, I would say, or move towards having concurrent classes as opposed to just having one group and then finishing up and beginning another one.
Well, part of it is the need that we have. Our diaconate is aging. Our first deacons were ordained in 1972. So we've got deacons that have been ordained for 54 years. We're getting old. I mentioned we've got 20 guys that will retire in the next couple of years. That gets us down to 25 or 30 deacons. We've got 79 parishes. I'd love to have a deacon in every parish, or 2 or 3. So we just have to kind of reload. The deciding factor to start the second cohort was the lack of deacons, or that we need more deacons. And we also have the men that are applying for it. We've had, for years, our cohorts were like 12 or 13 men. And then we had one that was 17, which was almost the best cohort, not quite, but almost. And then we dropped to 6. And now this one is 18. We started out with 21 men, and 3 have discerned out. But where is that call coming from? Why are they applying? I think it's the Holy Spirit calling them. So let's embrace it.
Well, before we let you go, because we're getting here on the break, if people are interested, okay, like you said, you have 2 concurrent cohorts going right now. But if it's someone for the first time listening and maybe wondering, maybe I should discern this call, where can people find out more about the diaconate and finding out more about whether that's right for them?
You can always reach out to me at the diocese through the email is vocations at dmdiocese.org.
Yes, I email it frequently.
I had to think about that a moment. Or you can call the diocese and they'll put you into my phone. So I'm always happy to talk about the diaconate.
Well, Director of Permanent Diaconate, Deacon Jim Houston, we appreciate it.
Just one more comment, Bo, is one of the things that when I've talked to men about the potential for a call to permanent diaconate is that discernment or even formation does not equal ordination. So it really want to highlight the discernment aspect that Deacon Jim mentioned through that formation process, because as he mentioned, they started with 21, 3 discerned out, and that can be for a variety of reasons. And sometimes we just need to travel that path to discover, is this what God, sometimes we have to hear it very plainly. No, this is not what I'm calling for you. And it may not be forever. It may be just not right now. Right, Deacon?
That's correct. And I think, men come into formation in different ways. Sometimes their first day they're ready to be ordained, or at least they think they are. And sometimes it's the night before ordination that they finally make that last call that I want to be ordained. So,
well, like you said, we can find out more by reaching out to the Director of Permanent Diaconate, which is Deacon Jim Houston, who joined us here on the show. Deacon, thanks for coming on the Catholic Morning Show.
thank you, Bo. Appreciate it.
Listen to the Catholic Morning Show weekdays at 7 a.m. Central on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, iowacatholicradio.com, or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.
What legacy would you like to leave? As part of the Legacy Society, your gift supports the future of the Iowa Catholic Radio Network. By participating in the planned giving process, you can be assured that when you leave this earth, your charitable gift will continue to support this apostolate and its mission of connecting people to Christ. If you're interested in including Iowa Catholic Radio as part of your charitable gift planning, call me, Belle Marasco, at 515-223-1150. Thank you for your prayerful support.